Right. Good morning, guys. So, in our last session, we have discussed how to launch a Linux instance and how to get connected to it, and a small option like Elastic IP address. Right. So, any questions on the previous session for me, guys? Any questions? No. All right. I'm taking it as a no. Right. Um, So here in today's session, we are going to discuss about the volumes. First, we will discuss with Windows instances. So then we will discuss with Linux instances. So here we have EC2. Whenever you are launching any EC2 instance, so as a first step, you need to choose the operating system. So I'm going to select free tier only. And I'm going to take Windows Server 2016 base. Click on select. And here we need to choose the configuration. Always choose T2 micro. And go with all the default options here, then click on next. So here under step 4, we need to choose the storage. So when coming to the storage selection, we have different types of storages available. We have SDD, we have SSDs, we have previous generation, that is nothing but magnetic disks, right? Again in SSD, we have couple of more types like, GP2, GP3, IO2, IO3, like a, so then we have SDD, cold SDD, throughput optimized SDD. So then we have like a magnetic disk. So first thing, for every single EC2 instance, we required a root volume. So this root means it contains an operating system. So first thing, root volume. Without root volume, you cannot launch any EC2 instance. See, can we delete this? Can you, without this, can we launch an EC2 instance? So how we can run our server without operating system, right? So root volume, it contains operating system. So along with that root volume, if you want to add any other volumes, here we have an option, add new volume, add new volume. So for additional volume, we have an option to, okay, if you don't require, you can remove it and all, but root volume, we don't have that option. First thing. Second thing, delayed on termination. So when coming to delayed on termination, so if we terminate our EC2 instance, what should happen to our EBS volume? So these volumes, we call it as a EBS volumes, guys. EBS stands for elastic block storage. These are block storage. So S3 is a object based, EBS is a block based storage. So whenever you are selecting delete and termination, see here for root volume by defaultly delete and termination is enabled. So that means whenever you terminate your EC2 instance, terminate completely deleting it, right? So you are getting rid of the EC2 instance. So if this feature is selected, your volume, that root volume which contains operating system is going to delete. It is going to delete. See, in some cases, you want to keep that volume even after your instance termination also, you want to have that volume. Why? You want to reattach it to any other EC2 instance. Mostly for additional volumes, we do that. For example, root volume that contains operating system, it is going to delete. But I have D drive. Let's assume this is C drive, this is D drive. So this D drive in future, I'm going to, whatever the data I have within the D drive, I want to persist that, I want to keep that. And in future, I even have a thought to associate to another EC2 instance also. So in that case, you no need to select this feature, delete and termination. And if you want to encrypt this volume, you can go here, you can choose what encryption mechanism you want to use. This is a default encryption mechanism, or you can go with the not encrypted one also. Okay. So in interview, you can expect one question related to this encryption. So that, okay, so how you can enforce all your users to use only encrypted volume in your AWS environment. So for example, now it is giving an option. By default, it is picking not encrypted. We should not give this option to end customer. Whenever he is trying to create a volume, this feature must be enabled. It should be encrypted for a compliance reasons, right? If any user is creating any non-encrypted volume, it should treat as a non-compliant resource, right? So you don't want to allow that. So in that case, we have an option under EC2. Here just observe under account attributes, we have EBS encryption setting. So click on EBS encryption. At moment, always encrypt new EBS volumes is disabled. Manage this. Click on manage. Enable this. So what is the default encryption key you want to give? The default encryption key we are going to pick. Then click on update EBS encryption. Now, whenever we are trying to launch a EC2 instance, I'm going to click on launch instance and I'm going to take one operating system. So if you observe, see by defaultly this is encrypted. See, is it giving any option to choose no encryption option? No, right? So you can expect this question in your interview. Why? Because most of the times we follow this. Every environment, we are going to encrypt all the volumes, right? So here in our case, like, we want to be under free tier limitation, so no need to enable this. Of course, there is no big difference if you're enabling when coming to our perspective. So, but when the technical server and all data is going to be encrypted, when any hacker or anyone like, trying to access, he cannot view the data from for the internet and all. So this feature will do. So EC2, account attributes, EVS encryption, enable this. Right. So now, so when coming to this Windows operating system, we require minimum 30 gigs. Right. So now let me pick a Windows, T2 Micro. So now, whenever, if you observe this volume type, so we have different volume types, guys. So I'm going to list out. So 90% of the times we go with the general purpose. 5% of the times we go with the provisioned Iops. Remaining 5% of the times we go and we choose this throughput optimized or cold STD. But 90% of the times we go with the general purpose SSD. That is a very commonly volume type, commonly used volume type. So let's quickly compare all these things now. So when coming to GP2, basically we have volume type. So first one is general purpose SSD. So this comes under SSD category. So within this general purpose, we have GP2 and GP3. So GP2, general purpose SSD, and GP, of course, GP3 also called general purpose only, but advanced version compared to GP2. So in what scenario we are going to use? So for most of the workloads, for most of the common workloads, we use this first thing. And for development and test environments, we use this. And if your application required low latency interactive applications, we use this. So these are some common use cases. And use cases is going to be same for GP2 and GP3. Okay, why? Because this is just an advanced version GP3. So general purpose SSD. So when coming to this size limit, we can even write it as a GP2 or GP3, but GP3 have an advantage. I'll tell you that. So size, the minimum size is 1 gig. Minimum is 1 GB. And maximum one individual volume size. One individual volume size is 16 TB. And maximum IOPS we are going to get for this instance is IOPS stands for input output operations per second. So 16,000 IOPS we are going to get for regular instances. We have a special category called nitro instances. There this value is going to be double, 32,000. But that is a special category. Let's forget about it. So general purpose SSDs. Most of the times we use this. So when coming to this GP2, we will get IOPS based on 1:3 ratio. So that means if you are taking 1 GB volume, we should get 3 IOPS, but with minimum of 100 IOPS. So logic is very simple. If you are taking 1 GB volume, how many IOPS we are going to get? We are going to get 3 IOPS. But with minimum of 100, if you are taking 1 GB volume also, we will get 100 IOPS. 2 GB volume, technically we should get 6 IOPS, but we will get 100 IOPS. Till what? Till 33. So till 33, we are going to get 100 IOPS. Whenever you are taking 34, so 34 into 3, so we are going to get 102 IOPS. If you are taking 100 GB, 300 IOPS we are going to get. So that is for GP2. And we cannot modify or we cannot specify required IOPS count with this category. When coming to GP3, we have a flexibility to choose the required IOPS count. So basically, IOPS only will defines the performance of that volume. See, now I'm taking root volume, that is general purpose SSD. So by default, 100 IOPS we are going to get. That's a burstable value. The maximum you can expect from this volume is 3000. So if I'm taking 31 GB, still 100. If I'm taking 33 GB, still minimum 100. If I'm taking 34 GB, see 102 IOPS. So with minimum of 100 we are going to get. So if you're taking 100 GB, you are going to get 300 required IOPS. So can we edit this? Can we change this? No, we cannot modify those values for general purpose SSD. That's what I mentioned here. When coming to GP3, see, GP3 is giving an option here, okay? How many IOPS you require, you can go and choose that here. So, for example, see, I'm taking 30 gigs and general purpose GP3. See, now I need 3 GB volume and I want 100 IOPS. I can go and choose this. I can go and choose 1000 IOPS. Yes, we can go and pick that. 10,000, we can go and pick that. So it is giving this flexibility. It is giving the flexibility to choose the required IOPS count as it is the latest version. But both are designed for the same purpose, both contain same properties, and minimum and maximum size support is also same. So that is a general purpose SSD category. So GP2 or GP3. G stands for general, P stands for purpose. So that is the first type. When coming to second type, we have provisioned IOPS. So when coming to this provisioned IOPS, we have IO2 and IO1. So provisioned IOPS. So these also contain same properties just like GP2 and GP3, IO1 or IO2. IO1 is the previous one, IO2 is the latest one. If you go through the material Naresh IT shared, there is no IO2 within that material. Why? Because it is recently introduced. Right. So when coming to this IO1 or IO2, in what case we are going to use this, So if you need high performance with regards to Iops, if we require highest performance from volumes of your EC2 instance, then we choose this. Another simple logic is if we need more than 16,000 Iops, this is the only option we have. So for production environment or IO intensive applications, an application that required a specific IOPS operation, it is going to consume more IOPS operations. Then we are going to take it IO intensive applications or production databases. We are going to choose this particular provisioned IOPS category. So the minimum and maximum size is, the minimum volume size is 4 GB. You cannot create like 1 GB volume or 2 GB volume. See, if I'm selecting this provisioned IOPS, let me take additional volume is required minimum. So I'm taking provisioned IOPS. If I'm trying to take 2 GB volume, it won't allow. In final stage, it's going to fail. I can even show you that from here. We have volume section. Within this volume section, we can even create volumes manually. So I'm going to create 2 GB volume, but I'm going to select provisioned IOPS. See, minimum is 4 GB. If you scroll down, if you try to create also, it's going to fail. Click on create volume. Oh, see, automatically it picked 4 GB. I have given 2 GB, but automatically it picked 4 GB. I was shocked. It should not create with 2 GB, but automatically it picked 4 GB. So that's a mechanism, minimum size and maximum size. So one individual volume I'm talking about, that 16 TB, not for the all the volumes. So one individual volume that supports 16 TB. For C drive 16 TB, D drive 16 TB. Of course, we don't, operating system, file system itself won't support that most of the times, but it supports 16 TB. That is provisioned IOPS. And when coming to maximum IOPS, we are going to get 64,000 maximum IOPS. That 64,000 maximum IOPS we can expect. So when coming to this IO2, that is the latest one. And here the advantage is like just like GP3, we have a flexibility to choose the required IOPS count. The default ratio is IOPS ratio is 1:50, but we have flexibility to choose the required IOPS. So let me quickly show you that. So for example, I'm going to take additional volume. See, 8 GB volume I'm taking with provisioned IOPS. See, automatically 400 is coming. See, I clearly mentioned here, we have a flexibility to choose, but by defaultly, how many it is going to pick? So 8 into 50, 400 we are going to get. So only general purpose SSD, GP2 and magnetic, only these two comes under free tier eligibility. So that is a provisioned IOPS. So this is the highest performance volumes in our EC2. So then we have HDD, hard disk drives, throughput optimized SSD and cold SSD. So when coming to throughput optimized SSD, so throughput optimized SSD, this one we call it as a ST1, storage throughput. So you can remember this T. So when coming to this, mostly whenever you're using for big data workload or log processings or like data warehousings, we are going to use this throughput optimized SSD. So for sequential data workloads, sequential data processing workloads, use this. So SC1 also with the same category, but you know that less frequently accessed. We use this sequential frequently data processing workload. We use this in simple for big data, log processing, or data warehousing solutions. We use this. So if you're taking like a EMR, Elastic Map Reduce, so where you can store the data and we can process the data by using, uh, engines and all. So in that case, we are going to use mainly whenever you are using EMR, we will prefer to go with this Elastic Map Reduce EMR stands for. So when coming to this, the size is minimum is 125 GB, maximum is 16 GB. Iops, we are going to get very basic Iops. So minimum is 125 GB and maximum is 16 GB. For throughput, we are going to get 500 IOPS. And for cold SSD, same properties but less frequently. Sequential, less frequently. Cold SSD, this is the SC1, and so if you are looking for lowest cost than ST1, in that scenario also we are going to prefer this. So for the same but lowest cost we can. So if you find big data, make sure you select this throughput optimized only. So lowest cost than ST1, less frequently accessed and all. Minimum size is going to be same 125 GB to 16 GB, and IOPS we are going to get 250 IOPS. So along with these, we have another one that is a previous generation one. Previous generation, technically we call it as a standard or magnetic. So the API code is standard. Okay. So when coming to this, if you are looking for lowest cost for infrequently accessed workloads, lowest cost storage for infrequently accessed workloads, we choose magnetic. And when coming to minimum size, minimum is 1 GB and maximum is, it supports only 1 TB. Remaining all support 16 TB, only this supports 1 TB. Okay, and IOPS there is no particular value, but it varies between 40 to 200 IOPS. It's a lowest performance one. So one thing you need to understand, among all these types, only some volume supports boot volume. Boot volume. To run your operating system, among all this, which one is supported? GP2 supports, GP3 supports, IO1, IO2, and magnetic. Only these supports for boot volume. Where for C drive or to run your operating system. To run root volume. All right. So if you observe, if you go here and if you pick, see, is it showing that SC1 or ST1? No. Whenever you go here, then only you can find this SC1 or ST1 here. So this is not a boot volume. For boot volume, only these two supports. Right. So any questions on these EBS volumes, guys?
Avinash, I mean, in what scenarios we will need these additional volumes? Can you have some example? I mean, apart from the root volume, which is required for operating system.
See, for example, You need D drive, additional volume. So this is the only option, right? So we are not going to, for example, if you observe any of the server, so are we going to keep everything? Forget about server. If you take your local device, are you going to store anything in C drive? The important data and all? No, right? So why, if any operating system crashes, we are going to, reinstall the OS, and also there is like, data, we worry always, which we stores in C drive. But if it is an F drive and also, so you don't need to worry that, like, if you want to run OS recovery and all, even in AWS also, OS recovery option is there, sysprep option is there, that those all going to taken care by EC2 config service.
Okay.
So in that case, storing data in C drive is risk again there also. So what you can do, you can take additional volume. So you can install application in that additional volume. You can copy all your data in additional volume instead of OS volume. So in that case, we definitely required additional volume here.
So Avinash, what's the difference between block and block storage and object storage?
Object storage, it won't support operating system. Basically in block storage, we are going to have MBR. So MBR stands for master boot record. So this MBR will contains your OS information. So what partition will have, how to write the data to that volume and all. So that information you will have for block basis device. Storage based, you already know. You can just store the files. You cannot install anything. You can run any application.
Yeah.
Right? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
So now, when coming to this free tier limitation, we are going to get 30 GB volume per month. So if you're taking Linux instance, whenever you're taking like a 30 GB, along with that 30 GB, if you're taking like, 1 GB or 2 GB as an additional storage, Amazon give a warning. Okay, so this won't comes under free tier eligibility and all. So if you continuously running for 30 days with this along with 30 GB volume, if you're running one additional volume, yes, for this additional 1 GB volume, we are going to get charged. But if you are not running this 30 GB always, this 1 GB won't cost us. Why? Because you are running for some duration and you are not running any volume and all. So this 1 GB will cover the duration. So whenever you are working on these volumes, don't create 100 GB or 200 GB volumes. Root volume, go with the default. 30 GB is too sufficient for our Windows. And while practicing, just go with the 1 GB or 2 GB volumes. So you won't get charged for that. So technically, we are going to get 30 GB per month under free tier limitation. So when coming to the instance stopped state, so now you created a volume. You created an EC2 instance and backend, you are going to have a 30 GB volume. So you stopped that EC2 instance. In backend, still that 30 GB volume will be available. You launched another EC2 instance and you have stopped that EC2 instance also. That EC2 instance also will have 30 GB volume in backend. So per hour, 60 GB volume is going to calculation is going to happen. So that's the reason I asked you not to stop your EC2 instance. Terminate it. If it is a Windows, okay, you can keep one EC2 instance in stopped state. If you're taking additional one, that is going to consume your space. That's going to consume your free tier limitation. So why to get into such type of issues? That's why terminate your EC2 instance and practice. If it is a Linux, no, you won't get into any issues. Why? Because Linux volume, Linux required only 8 GB volume. Even if you keep this instance in stopped state, okay, end of the day, you're going to have 8 GB volume. You have another EC2 instance that is also going to be in stopped state. End of the day, again 8 GB volume only. You have another EC2 instance. So only 16 GB is consuming continuously. But if you have one Linux instance, it need minimum 30 GB. You're consuming 30 GB here itself. So you can run, but not always. It's also just like your EC2 instance only. You should not have a 30 GB volume always, as additional 30 GB volume always. So, but you can practice and you can be within free tier limitation, of course. But whenever you are not using night time, why do waste that resource and all? Whenever you are sleeping, you just terminate the resource. Tomorrow morning, it's not going to take more than 2 minutes to launch an EC2 instance and to connect to it. So just launch a new one. So whenever you're practicing, you can create additional volume also. So 30 GB comes under free tier eligibility. And along with the 30 GB, I'm going to take 1 more GB additional volume. Let's see what we need to do at OS level. Right, so 30 GB and additional 1 GB. Here also I'm going to take general purpose SSD only. Even you can see that here under free tier limitation, you are going to get general purpose and magnetic storage. So then delayed on termination, I'm not going to enable this. Click on next. And here tags, just go and add the tags. So I'm going to give a name EBS volume lab. I'm going to give additional tag platform. This is a Windows server. If you want to give any other, you can give it. So in our couple of sessions back, we created a Windows SG that I have opened 3389 for everyone. So I have picked that. Then click on review. So this one, your instance configuration is not eligible for pre-usage tier just because of this additional volume. Where is that? Under volume section, under storage, this additional volume will causing that. So no issue at all. Click on launch. What key pair you want to use? I have access to this key pair. Select that, click on launch instance. See, don't select PPK file for Windows instances. There is no option to get connected to it. PPK only for Linux operating system. Then click on launch instance. So now scroll down, click on view instances. So now an EC2 instance is provisioned, it's in pending state, and we got a public IP address to this instance. So if you navigate to volume section and if you give a quick refresh, see here. So along with the EC2 instance, backend 2 volumes are creating, and these 2 volumes is in use status. Okay. So after launching an EC2 instance, if you want to add more storage, we can do that. Or if you want to create a new volume and if you want to associate also, you can do that. Right. So that we will perform in some time. The common scenarios, basically, if you are going to work for an MNC, launching an EC2 instance, or for example, you got a request to increase this volume to 2 GB. So go here, increase this 2 GB, you're done with your ticket. Now you need to inform to, if it is a Windows instance, you need to inform to Windows Ops or Linux Ops if it is a Linux. So then OS level, they are going to perform. We are not going to get OS level access if it is like, a major project and all. Our access limited to these only. But we should understand the process completely, right? Or if you are working for mid-range or like, a startup type of organization, so you definitely need to create a volume, you need to make it available and you need to deliver it. But in MNC, you won't get OS level access also. So instance is in running state. Let's get connected to it. I'm going to grab the public IP address of this instance, Windows R, MST, SC, click on enter, give the public IP address, click on connect. So then it will ask for the username and password. Default username is administrator and the password. Go to connect, select RDP client, scroll down, click on get password, whatever the key pair you associated, browse that key pair, decrypt the password. No, I think I'm in wrong path. I'm in downloads. Key pairs, 730kp.fam, scroll down, decrypt the password. Here is the password. Just go here, give the password, click on OK. Then give yes. So we got connected to our EC2 instance. Right. So when coming to this, root volume come alive by defaultly. But additional volumes, whenever you are launching an EC2 instance, whatever the volume you associated, so those volumes, you need to make it available at OS level. So in OS, we have an option called disk management option. You need to go there, you need to make it available. So now I'm navigating to this PC. Here it is. So how many volumes? We have only one volume, that is a 30 GB volume. Only one volume, that is a 30 GB volume. Where is that additional 1 GB volume? So we associated it, and if you navigate to console and if you observe, it is showing as like, in use only, but it is not showing here. So for that, you need to go to disk management page. So to navigate to disk management page, open run, give disk mgmt.msc, then enter. Okay, otherwise go to start, open server manager, go to server manager, computer management. So go here under manage, under tools, we have computer management. Click on that. So the window opens in a minute. So what happened whenever you are creating an additional 1 GB volume, that creates without any partition and all. So this is a computer management. Within that, go to disk management. Here you observe disk management. So this is a 1 GB volume. First of all, it is an offline state. It doesn't have any file system. So basically based on operating system, we are going to have the file systems. If it is a Windows, right? So we are going to have a FAT16, FAT32, NTFS, ReFS. So these file systems we have. So when coming to Linux, we have like ext3, ext4, XFS, GrowFS. We have different file systems. So FAT stands for file allocation table. NTFS stands for network new technology file system. ReFS, file system. So we need to choose one of the file system. If it is a Windows, it gives an option automatically. So we need to choose one of the file system for this. And if it is a Linux, we need to choose that also. Even if you go to your local laptop properties, your volume property, see this, what is the file system you are using? NTFS, new technology file system you are using here. Okay, so that is not a new thing. So go here, pick this, give a, first of all, make it off. It is in offline state, give a right click, make it online. So otherwise, like, make it online. So now it is online and it is not initialized. So give a right click, we need to initialize a disk. Select initialize a disk with MBR, master boot record, click on OK. Now it is online. Again, making a volume and online is not sufficient. It need to contain a file system. See, it is unallocated, just showing the size only, but not any file system. Give a right click, new simple volume. New simple volume, click on next. What size you want to allocate next. What drive letter you want to allocate for additional volume next. What name you want to get. What file system, FAT, FAT32, ReFS, which one you want to choose, you can pick that. Then click on next, finish. So then immediately you are going to get that volume. So now 1 GB volume is a 1021 MB NTFS file system, and you can find that 1 GB volume here. So this is how exactly you make one new volume available at operating system level. So first, so choose the volume, make it online, initialize with MBR, then right side give a right click and create a new volume with file system. This is a process. So the same window you can open with this command, Windows R diskmgmt.msc. Whenever you click on enter, automatically same window opens. See this disk management. Okay, so this is one option. So now that is one ticket, one kind of ticket you might expect. Second kind of ticket is, okay, this 1 GB volume is full. Somehow you start writing data into this 1 GB volume. So here you pick some data. And see, copy and paste is going to work as both are Windows machines. If not, give a right click and try to create some files here. Okay, so we have some data within this 1 GB volume, and the size is not sufficient. So you got a ticket to increase that volume size to 2 GB. This is making an existing one. So another task, like, another request is increase the size of an existing volume. When coming to this, as a first step, increase the volume size at console level first. So navigate to this. At moment it is 1 GB. Select that volume, navigate to actions, modify volume. The first option, modify volume. At moment it is 1 GB. I'm going to make it as a 2 GB. So then click on modify. So it is going to take a minute or two, first thing. And this is not sufficient. We need to extend the OS file system at OS level also. So here some articles how to do that in Windows and Linux. If you want to, you can go through that. I'm going to explain that. Just give yes. And now this 1 GB will become as a 2 GB volume. So one important thing, can we decrease? See, I'm increasing the size. Can we decrease the size? No. EBS volume. So we cannot decrease the EBS volume size. So for example, this is 2 GB volume. Okay, so you try to, okay, it is still in use and it is optimizing. So it will take a minute or two. Right, if you are trying to go here, modify volume, if you're trying to make it 1 GB, the size of a volume can only be increased, not decreased. So we go with the particular plan. So we always increase 40% of the size always for higher volumes in organization. So every organization is going to have different strategy, or they will give you size. Okay, can you make this volume to 100 GB or 200 GB, 300 GB? That application team have an idea, right? How the storage is going to increase and all. So they will ask us, we are going to simply follow that. So now it become as a 2 GB volume. Let's verify the same thing here at OS level. So just go here, give a refresh. Come on, give a refresh. Whenever we give refresh, see here 1 GB unallocated storage is added, just right side of that. See, whenever you have any unallocated spaces, only left side of that volume can consume that. So this 1 GB can be used with only D drive, not with the C drive. If I go to C drive and if I give right click, do I have any option to extend? No, right? But now this, if I go to D drive, I have an option to extend volume. Why? Because right side of this volume is unallocated. So that is a simple thing. So go here, give a right click, extend volume, next, next, finish. So now this 1 GB volume will become as a 2 GB volume. At moment it is 0.99 GB. Give a refresh, it become as a 1.99. So technically it's a 2 GB volume. So that is how exactly we can increase existing volume size. So that is another thing. Then OS level. Only increasing the volume is possible, decreasing is not possible. That another important thing. Right. So now let's take a scenario that so you want to terminate this EC2 instance, but whatever the data you have in this 2 GB volume, that data you want to have, right? Or else you want to detach this volume from this EC2 instance and you want to attach it to another EC2 instance. Now a question will come. So you have instance 1 and you have instance 2. So you whatever the volume you have with this instance 1, that volume should be associated to instance 2. The first question is in what AZ this instance is running, and is it in same AZ? If both are in same availability zone, for example my instance is running in AP South 1A, so another instance also is running in AP South 1A, then simply detach and attach. It works. So, but if this instance is running in AP South 1A, another instance is running in AP South 1B. So this simply detach and attach is not possible. So what you need to do? We need to create a backup copy called snapshot, and from snapshot create a volume in required AZ. Then only we can associate to another EC2 instance. In this case, so this I want you to try, and this one I'm going to demonstrate. So see where exactly my EC2 instance is running. See my EC2 instance is running in AP South 1A. So obviously both the volumes also creates in AP South 1A only. Now I have an EC2 instance in AP South 1B. Click on launch instance. Quickly I'm going to launch. So I'm not going to waste time on launching, like, while launching EC2 instance from now onwards. T2 micro, going with default options, 30 gigs. So this is going to be 1B instance, and where we define this, whether it is going to run in 1B or 1A, that under additional settings. Here we have an option called subnet. Existing one is running in AP South 1A. This one I want to specifically run it in AP South 1B. So we can select that here. I've selected. So whenever you are selecting no preference, AWS will launch our EC2 instance. Most of the times we choose that, but this time I have a specific requirement. I want to run it in AP South 1B only. Then I'm going to select it. And storage, tags, 1B instance, security group. I'm going to use same security groups, Windows SG, review, launch, and I'm going to choose this particular key pair, same key pair as that EC2 instance, launch instance. Now I got one more EC2 instance here, but this EC2 instance is running in AP South 1B. So can we just detach and attach an EC2 instance, this EBS volume to that EC2 instance? No. Why? Because my instance 1 is in AP South 1A, instance 2 is in AP South 1B. So what we need to do? We have an option for this volume. We can create a backup copy. That backup copy, we call it as a snapshot. We will go in detail about that in our next session. So at moment, it's just an introduction to snapshot only. So I'm taking 2 GB volume, navigate to actions, detach volume. Let's see. can we detach it to another EC2 instance or not directly? So I'm detaching it. So here you can find the status. In use? No. So now, yeah, it is in available state. So right, so I can pick the EBS volume, navigate to actions, attach volume. When I click on attach volume, if I click here, it is showing only EBS volume only. See, I have two EC2 instance, one EBS volume lag, one B instance. See, it is showing only one. Why? Because this volume is in AP South 1A. It can be directly attached to only AP South 1A EC2 instances. You cannot attach to another availability zone EC2 instances. Okay, so this I hope you got a clarity. This, yeah, I'm going to demonstrate now. So this is my volume. I'm going to select that volume, navigate to actions, create snapshot. Before that, do we have any snapshots? No snapshots here. So I'm selecting the 2 GB volume, navigate to actions, create snapshot. Whenever we are creating a snapshot, it will ask our description. 2 GB volume is our description, and I'm going to give a name tag. That name is 2 GB volume backup. Click on create snapshot. Okay, so now one snapshot is creating. Snapshot is nothing but a snapshot is a backup copy of our EBS volume. It's a backup copy of our EBS volume. We can use this snapshot to create volume for another availability zone resources, or we can copy to another region, or we can share it to another AWS account, or we can even make it public also. These all things we can perform by using snapshot. Don't worry about all those. I'll demonstrate those in our tomorrow session. So now here I got a snapshot and it's in pending state. One snapshot got created. We can create n number of the volumes from this snapshot. So snapshot can give us n number of the volumes. So let's connect it to, meanwhile, this is ready. I'll connect to the 1B instance. I'm going to grab the public IP, MSTSC, given the public IP address, click on connect. Default username is going to be administrator and the password. Click on connect, go to RDP client, get password, browse the key pair. So decrypt the password, copy that and enter that here. Give yes. Snapshot also created by the time. So this is our new EC2 instance, which is running in AP South 1B. So on your desktop itself, you can find that information. So basically, whatever the instance we are going to get, backend BG info. There is an option called BG info that is going to run in our EC2 instance. See, whenever you observe this desktop, see, we are getting this information, right? So there is a tool called BG info that is developed by Microsoft only. So BG info, Windows sys internals. You can even download this and you can run it. So what is your CPU, what is your processor, everything you are going to get it here. So here it is running in episode 1A. Scroll down, let's go to episode 1B1. So it's going to take a minute or two. So we have only C drive, and let me open disk management page also. So we have only one volume now. So we got the backup copy here. So we got the backup copy called snapshot. So from this snapshot, we can create n number of the copies. So those copies technically same as that existing one. So now navigate to actions. After selecting the second option is create volume. Click on create volume. What is the volume type you want to? You can pick that. I'm going with general purpose only. So then in what availability zone you want to run? This is important. I want to create this in AP South 1B. I'm going to create this in AP South 1B. Then scroll down, give a name, new volume from backup. Click on create volume. So now immediately you are going to get a new volume here. See here, we got a new volume. So technically this one and this one is same. The first one and last one is same. But this is running in episode 1A, this is running in episode 1B. That is a real difference. So now this is not supporting to associate to newly launched instance. Whenever we are trying to attach, not supporting it, right? But this one is running in episode 1B. We can navigate to actions, attach volume. So it shows all episode 1B instance. Go here, pick the 1B instance, click on attach. So immediately this state got changed from available to in use status. So one EBS volume can be associated to one EC2 instance at a time until unless one specific category. So most of the guys don't aware about this feature. Why? Because it just introduced a week back only. So I got that notification in our Slack channel. So that is, we have a specific category IO2. So whenever you are creating this IO2, you will get an additional option multi-attach. So if you select this multi-attach, so same volume you can associate to 16 EC2 instances approximately. But except this particular volume, no volume will have that feature. See, do we have multi-attach? Do we have multi-attach? Even for provision Iops 1? No, only for provision Iops 2, this multi-attach feature is there. So one EBS volume can be associated to one EC2 instance at a time. So except that IO2. So now we have associated that volume. Let's go to that new EC2 instance. See here 2 GB volume is there. If it is not showing, go to actions, give a refresh. So now it is showing offline, but it already contains some data, right? Do I need to write the file system again and all? Not really required. Just give a right click, make it online. There you can see, whenever you made it online, you can see the 2 GB volume and you can find the same here. Whenever you go inside also, you can find all the data. So technically, whatever the data you have copied here, that we are not able to associate to another availability zone EC2 instance. So what we did, we have created a snapshot. From that snapshot, we created a volume. For example, I need another copy of this volume. Yes, go here, create a volume. In what availability zone you require? You require it in AP South 1C. Pick that, create volume. So you will get another volume in AP South 1C. See here, another volume in AP South 1C. So for 1C instance also you can create and you can give it. So from snapshot, we can create n number of the backup copies. A number of the volumes. So technically it's a backup copy of our EBS volume. So clear with this process or any questions here, guys?
Avinash, what was the device thing, right? When you chose that that instance, right? In a particular reason, that window that came right behind it, just below that, there was an option device.
Which one?
When you were attaching the snapshot with the new volume, right?
That is a name. Basically, whenever we are associating, so
Yeah,
this
here.
one.
Yeah.
So basically, if it is like Windows C drive, D drive, and all right.
Mhm.
If it is a Linux, it's going to take dev, xpda, xpdab, and all it is going to pick. So Amazon is going to pick. If it is a Windows device, xpdf to xpdp, it is going to pick. So this one will convert as one of the drive letter here. So it will make it available here. That's not a big thing actually.
Okay, so can we change this to anything, or is that
You can use anything between XPDF and to XPDP.
so? What it is actually is that
I'll explain
Okay.
with respect to Linux operating system. In Windows, it doesn't make any difference, but in Linux, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So why? Because in Linux, if you are creating a volume, so it is going to take like XPDF, XPDA, XPDA1. See, we are going to get XPDF. Such type of things actually comes in Linux operating system, but Windows, you can give anything here, but it should be between this. It just technically device ID. That operating system is going to detect this volume with that name.
Okay.
Yeah, device name for attachment. So OS will detect. Okay. So any other questions, guys? Okay. So then that's it for today's session. So make sure you terminate all your resources. I'm going to delete my snapshot. I don't require that. And I'm going to terminate my EC2 instances as well. So today task is pretty straightforward, guys. So go and practice volumes. Attach a volume, detach a volume. So try to perform this.
Do we have class tomorrow, Avinash?
Tomorrow, yes, we have a session. Why any? Yeah, we have session, right? Even last Saturday also we had a session. See, we have not even into deep dive to these things, right? To take a big break to practice and all. So we are in initial stage only. So let's have a session tomorrow. That's my personal suggestion. We are initial stage only. Going
I
like
got that. I'm just checking it.
Okay. So whenever we are going to like a VPC and all, yes, I will give that practice windows and all. Saturdays you can utilize, Saturdays and Sundays you can utilize to practice. But we are in initial stage only. So to practice these things, you really don't require a particular day and all. So let's have a session tomorrow.
Sure, certainly.
And additional volume, I terminated these EC2 instances. So what happened? Additional volumes. See, the root volumes and all, it got deleted, but these volumes is not deleted. It came to available state. Why? For these volumes, delete and termination is not enabled. So as that feature is not enabled, after instance termination also, volume still available here. So that's why those volumes are there. So make sure you have no instances in running state and no instance in stopped state also, no elastic IP addresses, no snapshots and all. Terminate everything. Please upload the text file. I did that. I'm doing it every day. Yesterday also I did that. Okay. So yesterday I uploaded that. All right. So I'm going to upload that file here. So take scenario 2 as a task. So take scenario 2 as a task and try to perform that, guys. So launch an EC2 instance. You want me to write down that here? All right, okay. So launch an EC2 instance in AP South 1A with 30 GB only. With 30 GB volume, with 30 GB root volume. After that, create 1 GB volume associate with the instance and make it available. That's a task 1 within the task 2, and increase the 1 GB volume size to 2 GB and make it available at OS level. Now task 2 is continuation to the task 1. Task 2, launch another EC2 instance in AP South 1B. Launch another EC2 instance in episode 1B and get the 2 GB additional volume from episode 1A instance and make it available here. So here make it available and add some data. Make it available here and verify all data existed or not. Okay, so let me upload this updated one here. First thing, and so anyone not registered to the Linux courses, guys, which I shared, now you are good to start with the Linux course. I shared Udemy coupons, right? So if not, I'll do one thing. I'll generate that coupons and I'm going to share it in our Slack channel. Just registered. You can go through that course at any time. Did Naresh already shared any material? I hope at starting of this course, they might shade you for increasing the cost. We will cost anything. I didn't get that question, Rajesh. So I'll share that Linux course. Whoever is not registered, go through this and do that. So you're not getting instance name. That means you're not adding an in name tag, Swaraj.
I will check, Avinash, actually.
Yeah, how to resolve this? Login as administrator again. Just reset the password and no need to select that option at that time. That should not be a roadblock actually. And you need to add a name tag whenever you're launching an instance. If it is not getting, just go here, edit this. You have an option to edit this, add a name tag.
Yeah, I was adding like this
While
only, but
launching.
while looking at the videos, right, you were by default having that name over here. So you're
Why?
saying,
Because I'm clicking this option.
okay,
Click to add a name tag.
okay.
So increasing the volume, okay, we are within free tier limitation only. We are just practicing with 1 GB and 2 GB volume. So that's not going to cost us anything, Rajesh. So my personal suggestion, please go with 1 GB, 2 GB volumes only. Don't create 1 TBs, 2 TBs and all, right? Then you can be within free tier limitation. All right, so that's it for today's session, guys. See you again tomorrow. Thank you.